again, viewers and gamers alike out there, and welcome back for more of Arkham Twin Days of the Spidey lore. We start with Spider-Man Edge of Time once again. So, story and information you know about Spider-Man Edge of Time. So yeah, Edge of Time. So, why not we begin once again and see that we're going to the bonus gallery. So, why not? So, yeah. So, why not? Oh, yes. So, action figures. Okay, action figures. So, yeah, why not? Okay, so, about Miguel O'Hara and then, about playing the video game thing because he was going to get killed by some kind of creature he couldn't quite figure out. So Spider-Man from, Peter Parker, not the Miguel O'Hara. Okay, so he says Spider Sense is going crazy, and then some type of explosion, and then you hear Eddie Brock's voice, and it's Anti-Venom, and Peter Parker was following Anti-Venom, of course, because he wants to make sure he doesn't get hurt, or he has to stop him somehow. It wasn't going to be easy for the web slinger, so he's kind of fighting. He doesn't even realize he's fighting over control more than fighting Peter Parker, who is Spider-Man. Of course, I'm not sure he knows who Spider-Man's secret identity is, and so for that, he has to figure a way out, or something. It tries to, and then he has to follow Anti-Venom, and then he realizes that some things have happened, and when he tried to stop a bad guy, when he tried to stop Anti-Venom, an elevator almost smashed him, but he missed. And then Miguel O'Hara says, "Whoa! The elevator was about to just change into a closet all of a sudden." He says, "Whoa, really? Yes." And Miguel says, "Yes. From whatever happens over there, whatever happens in your time affects my time as well, and then vice versa." So yeah, you mean like the wormhole in the fourth dimension. Exactly. And he's going to find out what quantum causality is going to be really soon. I already gave you enough of the information. Of course, you guys are always likely and welcome to check out on this. Oh boy. My fault. So yeah. Let me see if I can lower the volume. Forgive me. Forgive me. That's better. So, yeah, I kind of forgot it. I make mistakes, so what? So there! So, the thing is, he's gonna find out very sooner or later, and then and you see what happens during the game. That says, later on, it'll say time paradox. Then he activates time paradox. Time paradox. Unlimited. This activation of time paradox right now is unlimited for a short time after you're done with it, and then you have got plenty of chances to use the time paradox, but it will last for like a short period of time, and then it'll be refilled and recharged. And Peter Parker said, "Wait a minute, these bad guys, they kind of froze in time," and Miguel O'Hara said, "That's impossible." Oh yeah, like they froze in time during this time paradox that is affecting yours and mine, or something like that. And Miguel O'Hara says, And for that I mean it's possible. So yeah, it is possible. And for that he has to fight a bunch of androids, which is androids and robots and the guys who are the, how do I say, rent-a-cops, which are not from police officers, which the rent-a-cops are the official guys who work at Arkham, which was changed from the Daily Bugle into Arkham. So it is completely different. And then Peter Parker is trying to figure out something out. And, well, later on, I guess he might have said about... And then Miguel O'Hara sees, like, this giant mech robot. And Peter Parker had to do something about it. And then there's kind of a heated argument. He said, "Stop yelling at me! I'm trying to understand all of this quantum causality thing." He says, we'll learn faster. And he said, wait a minute. What if I trash the whole thing? I mean, will that completely wipe out of its existence? Anything that will take down this robot. Okay, he says, all right, I'm working on it. Taking down the arms, the head, the legs, anything before Miguel O'Hara was completely crushed into a pancake. Okay, so why do we know about a little bit of Walker Sloan? So, Walker Sloan, known as one of Alchemex's most brilliant minds, Walker Sloan began his career in Stark Fujikara Industries' geophysics department. While there, he researched means in which to control the environment with an eye toward developing means of planetary engineering. Along the way, though, Sloan became obsessed with what he referred to as the big picture, declaring that simply aiming to control the environment was thinking too small. Instead, he contended that mankind had the potential to control the environment retroactively. Why deal with what nature has handed you when you can go back in time and retrofit things when they were more malleable? Perhaps even head off actions that were taken by mankind that mucked with the planet, or how do I say, mixed up with the planet, such as the use of certain chemicals that created holes in the ozone layer. Fired from Stark Fujikawa because his theories were considered too radical, Sloan brought his research to Alchemix. Although certain officers hesitated to employ him, the CEO himself signed off on the idea that time itself could be controlled and rewritten. Sloan was hired on and was under the impression that he would have free rein to research the concept of chronal control, but he began to chafe under the constant scrutiny of the CEO, who seemed obsessed with the project and determined to control every aspect of it. The CEO even cut off certain avenues that Sloan wanted to pursue, and also made it clear that when the time came to test the technology that Sloan was developing, that he, the CEO, would be overseeing it. Sloan became certain that the CEO would eventually take over the project completely and squeeze Sloan out, not to mention deny him his place in history, so he decided to go back in time before Alchemix was found, and created Alchemix in his image, making him the CEO instead of the other CEO, which I will get to that way later on. And then Miguel O'Hara was saved now that the giant robot that was crushing him no longer exists, but it turned into something else. Small robotic killer kittens. Aww. So yeah, they were turned into small robotic killer kittens, which are these androids or robots. They're gonna try to kill off Miguel O'Hara, who is Spider-Man 2099, but they have no idea who's Spider-Man's secret identity, because they don't know it's Miguel O'Hara, because they have no idea it's Miguel, and they never will, and they have never found out who it is. So Miguel O'Hara is trying to make his way towards the 66th floor. So he's gonna punch his way through, in and out, down and out, and getting to the 66th floor, believe you and me. And so, getting to the 66th floor was not easy for him. He punched, he clawed, he fought through back and trying to get to the 66th floor, diving all the way down, and finally he's going to the 66th floor sooner or later. But we continue that. Peter Parker has plans of his own to stop Anti-Venom and to stop the one who was sending him. And then he kind of tries to make himself scarce against Anti-Venom. And then Miguel O'Hara explaining to him what was what was going on with Anti-Venom. And Peter Parker said something. He's kind of fighting more control over himself more than me. Well, then he's fighting me, of course. And how he would say this, the subconscious control chips, if you want to know, that would activate his rewired thinking. Every time he stops and then thinks, the subterranean or the sub-mind control chips are rewiring his brain. Every time he thinks of an idea, then tosses out, and all of a sudden a new idea came up, and then wants to kill the spider. Then he tries to throw it away, and he said, Anti-Venom says, just making a little things, or just making a little things easier. And yeah, I mean, there is a chip that's implanted inside your brain with the Anti-Venom symbiote. Of course, the Anti-Venom is kind of like either the good guy or the anti-hero. I don't know which one. He didn't appear that much in many of the comic books, of course. So, okay, Otto Octavius. Otto Octavius' all-around scientific knowledge makes him one of Alchemex's most versatile scientists, equally at home in genetic research, where he has taken an interest in young Peter Parker, for whom he has very high hopes, or something as esoteric as temporal physics. Because of this, he is the go-to guy as far as Walker Sloan is concerned when it comes to just about any off-the-beaten-path project that Sloan wishes to undertake. Octavius embraced the physical sciences in his childhood, soon after his abusive father died in an industrial accident, eventually becoming the renowned nuclear physicist, inventor, and lecturer. One of his best-known accomplishments was the construction of a set of 4 mechanical arms, tentacles, as they were commonly referred to, that he employed when handling dangerous materials such as radioactive isotopes. That gives you a clue a little bit later on of that PS4 Spider-Man game, huh? What do you think? Easter egg? He controlled the arms via a harness that we wore around his body that is attached to his neural brain function, if you want to know. Whoops! Sorry. I went the wrong way. Alchemex hired Octavius at a serendipitous moment. The lab where he worked was built with slipshod materials, and that day after he departed, a radiation leak resulted in an explosion that killed everyone there. Oh, yes. So, first appearance, The Amazing Spider-Man comic book number 3, 1963. So, his first appearance back in 1963. That's incredible, isn't it? Of The Amazing Spider-Man comic books. Walker Sloan, his first appearance, Spider-Man Edge of Time, 2011. And this game created back in 2011. And so for that, Eddie Brock, who is now Anti-Venom, is trying to fight Control for himself rather than fighting Spider-Man. Of course, he was trying to cure him with these symbiotic tentacles that were coming out of his body, and then trying to cure Eddie Brock, not Eddie Brock, trying to cure Peter Parker of this radioactive powers. I'm guessing he's kind of a mutant of, Peter Parker, more or less, whichever works best. It depends on the Amazing Spider-Man comics, and it depends on the Ultimate comics as well, including the Noir comics, the Ultimate comics, and the Amazing comics. So yeah, that is a little something for you. So if you want to know a little bit about Anti-Venom, though generally considered a force for good, Anti-Venom poses a significant problem for Spider-Man. Eddie Brock's unique biology enables him to cure any abnormalities to a person's cell structure, including radioactivity, which he absolutely did, because he said he's trying to drain his powers or some sort, and he's also invisible to his spider sense. So Spider-Man cannot detect Eddie Brock when he's Anti-Venom because he is completely invisible to his spider sense, so you have to act on instinct of his surroundings. So that's going to be, and you have to be still like water, and you have to hear him really quietly and closely. Of course, he's going to figure out sooner or later he's going to meet up with, oh boy, he's definitely going to meet up with Eddie Brock soon. He told them that he is not a killer, for crying out loud, and then he sees the one by the name of Walker Sloan. He's because Walker Sloan says he has paid attention and he has seen him for a very wicked long time. And Peter Parker's like, okay, I'm thinking that in my mind, he's kind of nutsoid. But I guess I'm going to stop Anti-Venom first, and then I'm going to stop Walker Sloan and Dr. Otto Octavius. So with the radiation drained from his bloodstream, Spidey's powers are significantly reduced and even run the risk of being completely removed. Brock's long road to becoming Anti-Venom began when he was a columnist at the Daily Globe who wrote a series of articles purporting to be conversations with a self-confessed murderer who was supposedly the serial killer known as the Sin Eater. When the Sin Eater was revealed to be someone else entirely thanks to the efforts of Spider-Man, Brock became a laughingstock and blamed Spider-Man for his career downturn. Great, because you see what happens when criminals or guys or those that they blame on Spider-Man, because they don't take the blame on themselves. Instead, they blame on their friendly neighborhood Spider-Man for his stupid things. Why can't they take the blame themselves and accept it? Because they're stupid enough by not accepting the blame. Wow. I guess they don't know how smart they are, because they are being the idiots that they don't even realize. Or they call themselves the imbeciles because they're not smart enough to accept the blame of their own actions and not Spider-Man. You see Superman done this and they're going to start blaming Superman? No. You think that it's Batman and they're going to start blaming him? No. They're going to blame Spider-Man and they think it's his fault? No. Sometimes it's kind of their fault, either whether it's the DC heroes or the Marvel superheroes, and they don't accept the blame. They need to grow up and accept the blame. Fate brought Brock together with a vicious alien symbiote that had, for a time, bonded with Peter Parker and became what was then referred to as Spider-Man's black and white costume. When the symbiote was driven from Parker, it wound up bonding with Brock. The two of them became as one, and Brock took the name Venom. Venom became one of Spider-Man's most lethal foes, the two of them enduring many violent encounters. Eventually, Brock contracted cancer and decided to divest himself of the symbiote for good in order to change the course of his life. While the symbiote departed him for a new host, Mac Gargan. Wow, really? Mac Gargan, aka the Scorpion. Really? Brock was soon cured of his cancer by the mysterious, you're gonna get this, Mr. Negative, who's the one who was the first subject to get tested by the GR-27, also known as Devil's Breath, which is that simple, of course, but this is other Mr. Negative and not Martin Lee, but causing whatever remains of the symbiote were within him to fuse with his white blood cells. Brock was subsequently cleared of all criminal charges by having it proven in court that he wasn't in control of his actions. But when the symbiote later tried to take over Brock once more, the result was a white substance seeping from Brock's skin that both repelled the symbiote and transformed him into Anti-Venom. So, yep, Anti-Venom. His first appearance as the original Venom, and only Web of Spider-Man, comic book number 18, 1987, the full comic book of The Amazing Spider-Man, comic book number 299 in 1988. Anti-Venom, The Amazing Spider-Man comic book number 569, 2008. That is a long wait. And yes, and how Anti-Venom was beating the crap and beating the tar out of Spider-Man, and he was curing him of his radioactive poisoning, which he wasn't poisoned, but it's draining his powers, and he says, it didn't work, and he says, yes, it did. And he says, now I'll finish the job. And then he, you can see Peter Parker's holding his arm. He's still able to dodge, but he's taking that many hits. Of course, he's going to have to keep on playing possum and start beating Eddie Brock the crap out of him and trying to knock him senseless because those the subterranean control chips or the subconscious chips are controlling his thinking and his rewiring, and Walker Sloan pushed the button and bring out the beast in him, like beastly form, because he's not in control of himself anymore. And so Miguel O'Hara has to hurry up and run to the 66th floor as fast as he can. He has very little time before Peter Parker is killed off by Anti-Venom, who's being controlled by none other than Walker Sloan, with the help of Dr. Otto Octavius. And things are not going to go so well. But I do believe we are going to stop here for the time being. And don't worry, we are going to continue to pick up for where we left off. And thanks for watching. And don't forget to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And tell me, what do you guys think of Spider-Man Edge of Time? And not to mention Arkham Twin Days. Do you like it or hate it? And mash that like button or share this video if you guys love Arkham Twin Days. Every Tuesday and Thursdays only. So this is Leo Wolverine saying and speaking as always as your sensational special being and celebrating the entire month of April of Autism Awareness Month. For the colors are red, yellow, and blue, supporting those who have trouble because of those people who have autism and they need their support and help you for being cheered up upon. Godspeed, play safe, and shalom. And I'm one of those people who has autism, so I already told you that, so now you know. And for now, see you guys next time for more of Arkham Twin Days.